All right. So, yes, after we've talked about the Hamilton method, then we discussed the Jefferson method, and very similar, there were some issues arose with the Jefferson method, um, and it produced what they called some upper quota violations. Okay, so remember, we had an upper violation and a lower violation. And so it produced some upper quota violations by the Jefferson method. So then we had to, I think it was 1832 was the last time that they used the Jefferson method. So Adams devised a method, the Adams method, and his goal was to make quotas smaller so that when rounding up upper quotas, there's no surplus. Okay? So basically, what we have with the Adams method, to be honest with you, is really just the exact, basically, backwards of the Jefferson method. Okay? So this will be really easy for you here. All right, so I'll show you how the Jefferson or the Adams method works, but it's almost identical. All right, so same process as before. We have our numbers, we have our total, and we find our standard divisor by doing the total divided by the number of seats. In this case, back to that 15. And we had 72.53. And if you remember, then we did 231 divided by 72.53, and we got 3.185. 502 divided by the 72.53 gave me 6.921. And then 355 divided by the 7253 gave me 4.895. All right. And if you add all those together, that's where we get our 15 from. All right. Now, where this differs from Jefferson, remember Jefferson, we based everything off the lower quota. So this would be 3, 6, 4. All right. With Adams, we do everything based off the upper quota. Remember, the upper quota is if there's any decimal at all, you round up. So 3.1, oh, that goes to 4. 6.9, oh, that goes to 7. 4.8, that goes to 5. So you round everything up. I mean, even with 0.1, your normal rounding rules would not round up, but on this one it does. Okay? So if it's at all has a decimal, then you round that number up. And so 4 plus 7 plus 5 gives me 16. All right. So then if you think about it, what did we do in the last one? Because we were lower, we need to up our quotas, we lowered the standard divisor. So on this one now, because I have more seats than I need to do what? I need to lower, or I need to up my standard divisor. Okay? I need to raise my standard divisor. Okay? And so, this is where, once again, there's no shorthand to this. You just have to play around with it. So I was at 72. Let's go to 73. And if I do that, I'm going to get 231 divided by 73 was 3.1. 502 divided by 73 was 6.8. And what was it? 355 divided by 73 ends up giving me 4.86. So we did lower these, but we really didn't lower them enough. So, because if you think about it, if I do my upper quotas, that would be 4, that would be 7, that would be 5 again, which is still that 16. So 73 didn't work. And like I said, you guys, unfortunately, there's not, this is all just kind of guess and check. So we need to keep going up. Now, you might jump up a couple. So let's jump to maybe, let's go to 77 this time. And what you want to keep, you're going to just keep doing it. So we know if 77 is too big, then we need to pick a number in between these two. You know what I'm saying? If I go too much the other way, then we need to pick a number between the two. So I'll just jump to 77. Like I said, there's no rhyme or reason. I just picked it. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing. So 231 divided by 77 gives me 3. Exactly. 502 divided by 77 gives me 6.5. And 355 divided by 77 gives me 4.6. Now, if we do our upper quotas, remember when it's a whole number, you stay. Upper or lower, you would always just stay. So my upper quota of that is 3. 6.5 would end up being 7. And 4.6 is still 5. But because we lowered that one now we're down to the 15 that we needed. Okay? And that's the process. So it really is the same thing. But if you remember with Jefferson, we tended to lower this to make these numbers go up. With Adams, since we use the upper quota, so for most time we're going to be too high and we need to get a smaller quota, then I need to make this number go up instead of down. Okay? All right. Questions there? All right. So kind of the same thing as before. All right. So because this is a guess and check kind of thing, now there is a way that you can kind of do, you could do this on if you had one of these calculators, but it's kind of the same thing we're doing with the Google Sheets. But I felt like everybody has Google, you could get Google Sheets by just logging into y'all log into Google Classroom, so y'all should be able to go to your Drive and get Google Sheets. So you could do a lot of the same things. Okay. So that's why on this one, it says I had biology at 165, chem 208, physics 182, and astronomy was that 630. And we have 20 scholarships to give away. Okay. So, like I said, kind of the same thing here. Let's go to our Google Sheet now. So there was all those. Equals sum. Remember, we could do that. Equals sum, and that will add up everything for me. Okay. Oh, I messed up right there. That was 182. Okay, there we go. So I knew something. Now, so same thing. We need to find, we always start with our standard divisor, which remember your standard divisor, your SD, is always going to be the total. So we'll do total. So we have it over here. It's always your total divided by the number of, in this case, scholarships. So 630 divided by 20 gives me 31.5. 31.5. Now you can do this to make life easy. 31.5. I'm going to copy and I'm going to paste that. Copy and paste. It'll just put that same number there every time. All right. And then remember, we need to find our standard quota. Standard quota. So, and how do we do that again? Remember, we do equals. It's basically going to be the population, which is that, divided by my standard quota, which was that, right? Okay. And we hit enter. and it'll automatically do that. Now, if we type it in, notice what it did. It said B3 divided by B2. So it was that number divided by that number. The reason that's helpful now is if you want to do copy. So what it's going to do is it's not copying that number, it's copying the formula. And then we're going to paste it. And that's why it ends up making all these the same. All right. So then we're going to do our upper quota. Okay. My upper quota. So in this case, once again, remember, if there's any decimals whatsoever, you round up. So this would be 6, 7, 6, 3, and if I do equals sum, parentheses, and then I'm adding all those together. So right now we're at 22. I only had 20 seats to give away, or in this case, scholarships. So what are we going to do? We're going to change our standard divisor. Okay? We're going to change the standard divisor. So what if we change it to, so I'm going to come down here, new, so my modified divisor. All right, so remember, we need these to go down, so we need my divisor to go up. So let's try 32. Okay? 32, 32, 32, 32, 32. All right. So what do we get? This was 31.5. All right. So that still would be 6. That'll still be 7. That'll still be 6. That'll still be 3. And equals sum. I'm going to do this. Okay. It's going to add all this together for me. So 22. Now what you can do is, let's do this. Let's copy, and we're going to paste that formula down here a little bit. So that when we start adding numbers here, so modified divisor. So this was modified divisor 32. So that didn't work. What if we change our modified divisor to, what do you want to guess? Let's say maybe 38. Like I said, and I'm totally guessing here. So we'll try 38, 38, 38, 38, 38. 38. Okay? And when I do my things, that turns out to be 5. 5.4, that would round to be 6. 4.7 will go to 5. 1.9 will go to 2. And that gives me 18. So what's happened there? Remember, how many seats did I have? I had 20. So 32 is too small. 38 was too, or 32 is still too big. 38 is too small. So I need to pick something in between. So let's do maybe 35. 35, 35, 35, 35, 35. All right, it shouldn't matter. I don't really need to do that last one. And what are we going to get there? So this would become 5. This one would be 6. This would be 6. This would be 3, right? And voila, there's my 20. So my modified divisor needed to be 35. All right? But that gave me my apportionment right there. Bio needed 5, Chem 6, Physics 6, Astronomy 3, and there's my total. All right? So that's what we call the Adams method. Any questions there?